Well, welcome to Conversations for Change. Each week we bring you in-depth talks on things that impact our community. And today we're talking about and tackling the subject of representation, and it's important about seeing diverse images on the silver screen. Our guest today has had roles in movies like The Conjuring and Mile 22, and been on a variety of TV shows like the Cobra Kai, Chicago PD, and even Nashville. Of course, joining us this morning is actor Keith Arthur Bolden there. Of course, he's got some local ties, which we'll get a chance to talk about here this morning. Thank you so much for getting up with us.
Man, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, we are excited. We've got a chance to talk a little bit about your credits here and the things that we're seeing you on the silver screen with. Talk to us about, of course, what people may have remembered you from or what they may have seen you on here recently.
Well, the big thing, because it was the #1 show in the world for a few weeks, is Cobra Kai. That's the big thing. And then after that, Conjuring, and then people recognize me from Soul Train show that was on BET a few years ago. So yeah, I get recognized a little bit, but not too much, very, very modest.
Yeah.
But I traverse in theater, I directed theater, I produced in theater, and I also worked in television.
Now, we had a chance to look at your bio here. I did a little bit, of course, during our downtime, doing a little research. You're actually not only acting, but you're a professor as well.
I am. I'm a tenured professor, associate professor at Spelman College, which is an all-women's, historically Black college in Atlanta, Georgia.
So talk to us about the acting world. How did you get into it, and how did you land these parts in these big shows?
I'm from Los Angeles originally, but I didn't find acting, or acting didn't find me. The craft of it didn't find me until I came to Fresno, of all places. In 1991, Fresno hired their first African-American professor in theater, Thomas Whit Ellis, who kind of credit for exposing me to something that was always inside of me. Yeah. And they hired him because of the lack of representation in the work that was coming out of the theater arts department at the time. So he started a Black theater program, and I mean, within our first year, we were in Nigeria performing a play about Malcolm X. So wow. he was pretty pivotal in my life.
So you got a chance to be here for high school and then also at college here as well in the theater world. Was that kind of part of your path to get to Hollywood?
Well, high school, no. There was a really not a robust, very remedial kind of theater class in high school that taught us nothing really. I took that class. It was an easy A. I was a journalism major when I first came to school. Ironically enough, I wanted to be a film critic because no one ever told me that I could be in the movies. It was always, oh, that's not for you. It's a hard life. You'll never do that. But I've always been in kind of an entertainer, right? And so it wasn't until I found the craft when I came to Fresno, and then I did my first play, and subsequently changed my major to theater.
I love it. I love it there. So from a career at Fresno State to the big screen there, talk to us about coming up. What did it mean to you to see folks that look like you on the camera? What kind of impact did it have on your life?
It's funny, man. I actually had an epiphany last week that someone asked me, what's my favorite movie? I don't have a favorite movie. It's just too many. It's too many good projects out there. But the most impactful movie was The Last Dragon. And I'll tell you why. It's because we had ordinary people doing things in a film, making them superheroes. So Leroy Green was this martial artist who found his superpower. Mm-hmm. And I had never seen a Black martial artist who looked like me, my age, who it wasn't in a Bruce Lee movie where they were just kind of the token Black. This was a movie about a Black martial artist who found his superpower. And I used to go and watch that movie so many times. My dad would come into the theater and get me. And at that age, I didn't realize I was just seeing myself. Mm-hmm. It was music that I loved. It was characters that I knew. It was characters I thought were funny. It was somebody I wanted to be. And so that's probably the most impactful film.
And for folks that are watching that don't have a real connection to that show, it is streaming right now. I actually got a chance to watch it with my family and my little ones here just a weekend ago. So the timing of that, of course, comment is funny. So it's definitely out there. Definitely something you definitely want to pull up and watch. What other characters do you remember, or what other roles do you remember that really kind of inspired you along the way?
Well, in terms of the artistry, in terms of acting, I mean, I have two movie posters when I was 5 years old that I before I could read, I knew what a movie poster was. I'm telling you, I was destined to do this thing. It was a movie poster, Heaven Can Wait, Warren Beatty. He was standing there in a gray tracksuit and wings coming out of him, and his head was down. You couldn't really see his face. And then the other one was John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever, right, with that iconic kind of
Right.
and those those icons, those iconic images always stayed in my mind. And I knew that those people were doing something that made other people happy. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to, whatever I was doing, I wanted to impact people in their day in a positive way. And I feel like I've done that. I feel like acting, theater, Thomas Wood Ellis, Fresno, really gave me a life that I never dreamed of. Right? It was they teased me and tantalized me with, if you do this one thing, you may be able to do this other thing. And I've just built on those things as I've progressed.
Wow.
That's 30 years.
So what a career there. Let's talk about what you're working on right now. What are some of your current projects that you have going?
Currently, well, I have a play that's running in Charlotte at Actors Theater of Charlotte called Hype Man that I directed. I'm actually going to be in LA on Thursday for Netflix. It's a joke, doing some Cobra Kai stuff. And then, let's see, I'm shooting a short film. I have another short film called The Inventor that is making the festival rounds. I have a TV series, Terror Lake Drive, season 2 coming out, and a movie called Bandit with Mel Gibson coming out.
Oh, wow. So Cobra Kai, obviously a lot of folks are talking about that. They are kind of going into multiple seasons now. What's that experience been like for folks that are curious to get into this and that are watching this interview? Kind of take us into that set. What's it feel like to be an actor on Cobra Kai?
It feels great because the creators are fans of their own work, and that's not always the case. You have 3 men who have been buddies for a long time, who were fans of Karate Kid and decided that they wanted to tell this expansive story. And when I originally auditioned, I auditioned for one role that was ultimately cut, but I made an impact in the room that they found another role for me, and it's actually a way better role. You know, playing Daryl, the announcer for the fights is great. They trust me because I'm pretty good with improvisation and I'm good at memorization pretty quickly. So those are my superpowers when I'm on set, and I'm a people person too. So all those things kind of work in tandem on a Cobra Kai set, because when I come, it's not intimate scenes. I come when they have all the extras there for the tournament. So I'm leading the crowd and chants and calming them down, getting them hyped up in between takes. It's been really great. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, that's actually perfect, because it kind of segues into my final question for you, and that's for the young folks that are here in our Central Valley area that kind of aspire to make it to the silver screen, make it to some form of acting or theater. Give us your advice for those folks that are coming through school right now. What's their advice about getting in there and getting those first couple of roles?
It's a process. It's your process. Don't try to skip over things to get to the end of the race, right? You hear this all the time, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Yeah, those metaphors work. But what I'm telling you is, it's process versus product. You will get the best product if you go through the process. Nothing happens in life without going through a process. Metamorphosis, caterpillars turning into butterflies, coal turning into diamonds, gas being refined, everything has a process. So the actor's process is actually living life, taking advantage and being aware of all the things that are going on around you, because all those things you can excavate to create character. So you really have to be kind of aware of everything that's around you and take it in. Some things you won't use right away. You may use it 10 years from now, but you have to be aware. You can start writing stuff down, journaling, so that you have resources. Because our resources in acting is life and experience. So.
Words of wisdom there, a Hollywood actor, of course, and with ties here to the Fresno area, Fresno State alumni, Keith Arthur Bolden. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning, and that does it for this edition of Conversations for Change. If you'd love to learn more about Keith and what he's starring in, we'll add links, of course, to the description right below this video.